good morning. As Pastor Craig said, my name is Tom Schiwal. I am the person who has the honor of serving as your council president and the privilege of speaking to you today. Pastor Craig and Pastor Bob learned that this weekend that, as a younger person, I had aspirations of being a man of the cloth. I even took theology in college. But one of the things I remembered when I was writing this talk is something that one of my priest instructors told me said, Tom, never take more than 5 minutes for a speech or a sermon. Then he went on to say, because the first 5 minutes, that's actually for the congregation, because you still have their attention and they'll be listening. The second 5 minutes, that's not for the congregation, that's for the priest or minister to say what he forgot to say the first 5 minutes. Now, if you get into the third set of 5 minutes, well, you've totally lost the congregation and their minds are elsewhere. That third 5 minutes, that's for the devil. He said in the fifth 5 minutes, the devil doesn't even want. So I'll try to keep it to 5 minutes or less. One of the reasons why I didn't become a priest is someone said, if you become a priest or a minister, there's two things that could happen. One is you get prematurely gray, or the other thing is your hair falls out. But I don't think that's true, is it? Yeah. Moving on. In Lent, Pastor Bob, Pastor Craig, and Pastor Pam have been talking about stewardship, how it's more than simply tithing of money, how it's spending your valuable time, attention, and energy on issues of the church, local, statewide, and even global concerns. But I'm here to talk about financial stewardship, where we are at as a congregation, where we are headed, and where we need to be. Before I do that, there's 3 promises I told myself when I was graduating from high school. One was, Tom, never buy a station wagon. Wouldn't you know it, my first vehicle was a Pinto station wagon with no rear bumper. That thing was more volatile than, what's his name, Kane West? Because I thought a station wagon was uncool back then. The second promise I told myself, Tom, I never want to work in a restaurant. I didn't think that was a cool job at that time. But who does all the cooking at home and for special events? I do. Tom was the third promise I made myself. Never be the guy who goes around asking for money. Well, here I am today, and here it goes. Where we are at, there's that line from the Titanic, iceberg, dead ahead. That's not where we're at as a congregation. But from my position as council president and being on the council the last couple of years, I do see an iceberg on the horizon. So start thinking of me as that annoying little light that comes on in your car that blinks before you need service. It could be a week, it could be a month, it could be 3 months before you actually need service. But the fact of the matter is, it is on the horizon. We do need to adjust our course or we will smack that iceberg. How do I know this? Well, one of the positive things about Good Shepherd is we've been increasing in membership over the years, while other congregations, not just Lutheran congregations, but all congregations across the country have been decreasing. Our membership has been increasing. Unfortunately, at that same time, our contribution to the general fund, that has been decreasing. That's dropped about 7% overall since 2012. But our membership, that has risen about 5%. So if this trend continues, it will be iceberg dead ahead in the future, and it will become an emergency. How did we get here? Well, plain and simple. When was the last time the council has asked, just come out and asked, and given you the information you needed to make your decisions? We've put information in the bulletins to try to keep you informed, but I suspect there's a lot of you out there who are more like me, where I don't feel I have time to read all the words on the piece of paper. I need to be told, I need to be asked, I need to be invited to donate. You know, PBS does it, and they do a good job at it, and they're not ashamed to ask for funds. In fact, I offered a suggestion I could interrupt Pastor Bob's sermon every Sunday and ask for money, and then when we had enough, then he could start again. But okay, he told me I might be able to get away with it one time. Good Shepherd members, you are a caring and generous community. For instance, the campaign for Camp of the Cross, within a week, you far exceeded any financial expectations that they needed to achieve the goal. 15 years ago, when I became a member of Good Shepherd, I was one of those people, actually our family was the family that was disillusioned with organized religion. But when we came to Good Shepherd that first Sunday, we were enamored with the Good Shepherd congregation. You're friendly, you're involved, welcoming, energetic, and 15 years through trials and tribulations, we've continued to be that kind of congregation. I don't want us to become distracted by a financial iceberg if we can avoid it. And we can, very simply and very easily, but we have to start doing it right now. What do we need to do? You know, a small course adjustment immediately will help us avoid that iceberg. I'm asking about 5 to 7% increase in financial contributions. Put simply, if you're someone who gives $10 a week, well, maybe give $10.50 a week. If you're someone who gives $100 a week or a month, give $105 a month. I invite those of you who may not be contributing to start contributing. I invite those of you who contribute into the offering basket each week to start giving through Simply Giving. That's what this card is about. It's online bill pay, online giving. That way, if you're not here each Sunday, the congregation can still be blessed by your contribution. I invite those who are already doing that to look at your finances. Hopefully you've experienced an increase in income over the years. And if you have, has your level of contribution increased as well? Again, I'm not talking about major changes. I don't like major changes. I'm talking about a small course adjustment in financial contribution. We have continued to build an awesome congregation, an awesome body of Christ, and I have no doubt that trend will continue. Beginning in my talk, I talked about those 3 promises I made to myself: the car, cooking, and asking for money. Well, that car I bought, that Ford Pinto, that became known as my God car, because that thing, it always took me where I needed to go, whether or not I wanted to go there, and it never took me where I shouldn't go. And in college, there's a few shouldn't go places. Cooking, I may have never been a fast food cook, but I find great joy and satisfaction cooking for my family and loved ones in special events. And asking for money, well, here I am standing in front of you asking for money. But rather than being terrified, I feel incredibly honored and privileged to call myself a member of Good Shepherd. And I'm willing to do anything to keep our beautiful congregation healthy and strong. Thank you.